Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new Pick a Side live reaction. I already know what the elephant in the room is going to be, so I got to address it. There was no live yesterday, not because I was in a bad mood that the Knicks lost. That's not the reason why. We thought we were recording a podcast in the studio, but unfortunately, or I should say, fortunately, I don't know. Either or. My aunt had a birthday today and I had to go to her birthday dinner. So unfortunately, I couldn't record the podcast, but I'm very blessed that my aunt, it was her birthday today. So, two things still happen, one bad, one good. That's the yin yang effect. But that's why we're here now, giving you guys a live on what happened. Next in studio podcast should be on Monday, but Mr. Dels is here. Andrew Velez is here. We're here after the Timberwolves won game 3 in dominant fashion. And we'll see if we feel the same way after game 4, because the moods will be completely different if they lose game 4.
No, John tonight is upsetting. Drew, I know you weren't on the last show. John flipped after the OKC Thunder went up 2-0. He said, Dell, sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror as a man and say, I was wrong. He went on this whole spiel how wrong he was about the Thunder, or Minnesota for that matter. I wish he was up here just to see what he had to say, just to see if he feels the same way, because it's one thing if you lose a game by like 5 or 7 points. It's another to get out there and game is basically over, halfway through the second quarter. But excited to talk about this and the next game, because I think both series are still very interesting.
Maybe I should have texted John and asked him if he's still going with the Knicks.
Let's text him real quick. We're going to answer before the show ends.
Maybe we'll get an answer. Stay tuned.
Obviously, it's a bummer. The Knicks are down 0-2. With that being said, about tonight, I did hear that John flipped. And I can't say I'm surprised. What cracked me up more than anything was you listening to John speak and say, you sound like that guy. Because that's exactly what went through my mind as he's talking. I'm like, he sounds exactly like Joel. However, this was a smoking. The game was over at halftime. Third quarter kind of started. They got it to 22. I said, hey, who knows? And then they called timeout. They ended up going back to putting belt to ass. But this was interesting. This was an interesting performance, because I say that where you're going to have the guys like John who came into the series thinking, hey, Minnesota can do it. And then you watch the first 2 games, OKC convincingly handed an ass whipping to Minnesota. But then this was the most convincing W of the series thus far. It'll be interesting to see where people's heads are at. I agree with you. I wish so terribly John was here, because we need that perspective.
We would have gotten the Knicks flip 100%. He would have went to the Pacers. I know he would have.
I asked him on the show. He said no.
I know he said no, and maybe he'll say no publicly to continue to save face, because he can't have 2 flips in one round. I mean, that's insane. That's insane. I mean,
I've never the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Those are will numbers in the round. I mean, listen,
by the way,
man.
real quick, Joel, yeah. I asked John in the chat if he's switching with OKC. No response, but he ha-ha'd my message.
Okay, so he knows what time it is. He knows what time it is.
I will
Maybe you should ask him about the Knicks.
We were gonna have a topic for today's show that was going to be who has a better chance of coming back 0-2. I'm interested, because obviously we are in hindsight. Were we all going to say Minnesota because they were going to their home court? I'm curious.
I was going to say the Knicks.
The Knicks had a better chance.
Yeah.
Interesting. My mind immediately went to Minnesota has a better chance. Obviously, we know the Knicks play better on the road. I wish I knew why. It's something that can't be explained. They just do. However, Minnesota is now going to their home court. That would be the reason why you could think, hey, maybe they might have a better chance. So I was curious where your guys' heads were at.
Well, listen, Dell's answer saying the Knicks, I appreciate the respect, but he's trying to jinx us right now. It was the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves did have 2 home games coming up. And the truth of the matter is, you look at historically, all the factual evidence points to that. If you drop the first 2 games on the road, there is still a slight chance you can come back in the series. When you drop both games at home in the conference finals, that's essentially a death sentence. So if Minnesota were to pull it off, historically, it falls in line. The Knicks winning at this rate would be something that we have not seen, even though I still think we got a chance. I'm not giving up just yet. I mean, 2 close games. Jalen Brunson got me. Your guy Cat, I don't know so much if he got me. Definitely doesn't got me and helps our defense.
You know what's hilarious about that? He's saying your guy, Dells, and you know who he's talking to. He's talking to me.
Oh, yes. I'm not the Cat guy.
That is funny because in game 1, he was singing his fucking praises. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Karl Anthony Towns, you're the greatest thing ever. We wasted a Cat masterclass.
We did.
Game 2, he was mid. Game 2, he was mid.
He was garbage.
He was good. Bad. He wasn't. That being said, don't choke a 9-point lead with 50 seconds left. That's all I'm going to say.
It was an abysmal choke. The series should be 1-1 now, but you know, you live with certain things, certain outcomes. Just an all-time choke that happened. But fellas, how are we doing tonight? How was your guys' day?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain too much. Went to see Lilo and Stitch with my queen. That was interesting. I'm not going to say it wasn't.
It's the live action one, right?
Yeah, the ending lost me. The movie right before the ending, he loved it. The ending lost me. Went to see Apartments with her too, taking a big boy leap. That was pretty cool. Won't be moving into that apartment. A little too pricey, but it was nice to get that experience. And caught my first pair of 4s. Boys, we're up.
The cement 4s?
Yes.
They came out today. I think they dropped today.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
That's a great come up.
I had an $80 gift card that I didn't know I had. $140 for those shoes. I was lit.
Dude, that's awesome. This is gonna be probably the last time you see me in this room.
It's over, man.
Yeah, it's over.
Me
and Chelsea have most of our things moved into the new apartment. The last few things I just gotta I'm just doing laundry right now. I gotta pack a bunch of my clothes, but we got all the big stuff over there, and I'll have a new setup, which it's gonna be like a half setup until like my desk and chair and everything get in, probably for like a week, but won't be here in this room anymore.
Yeah, that's honestly, cool. We needed you out of the jail cell, with all due respect. Like, shout out to the crib, a legendary house, legendary times we've had in that house, but it's time to move on.
Mr. Dells is gonna have that NYC view.
I am. It's nice, man. Once we get everything situated, we're gonna have a little housewarming for sure.
Let's go. Are you gonna actually have a nice background, or are you plotting on a background?
We should. I'll tell you guys, it's a whole ordeal, but yes.
All right.
It's about time. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't like the Celtics thing in the back. You got to take that out. Next year is the tanking year. You could remove that for the year. My day was good. I went to go eat at a steakhouse. I went to Segovia today.
Love Segovia.
And I ate some good food. You know, I'd had a couple drinks just clowning around at the table. I got this drink called Caribbean Mist.
Oh, I was saying what kind of meat, but I'll mention the drink too.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a seafood platter. I got a lobster, mussels, and shrimp. I like seafood a lot.
Over steak guy?
Yes, I am. The steak sometimes is, I don't know. I was in a different mood. I was in a mood for seafood today. But the thing is, what I've noticed about myself is I don't like lobster. I like crab. I like crab a lot. I like crab legs specifically. So I like dipping the crab in the butter. That's my favorite type of seafood. I like it more than lobster. But yeah, just clowning around. Just playing 2K15 today. I've been buying old games and just playing old 2Ks. Just play with the Houston Rockets with Harden and Dwight Howard. And then outside of that, I was just walking. And as I was walking and getting my steps in, like around the block, somebody in their car, I guess, noticed me because I was talking really loud. And I was talking about Anthony Edwards and how he's generational. I was just yapping to Jess the entire time. Like, yeah, I just can't believe people don't think Ant is generational. And then he was like, yo, bro, you do TikTok? And I'm like, yeah, bro. And then he's like, word, I like your sports content. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm talking about sports all the time. I'm talking about Anthony Edwards right now. And then his name is Victor. And he's trying to start up content. So hopefully he starts up content. He was like, maybe we could collab one day. And I was like, that'd be dope. And then I just kept on walking.
It was a good day for Pick a Side. I go and I walk into the building that we were looking at, and the concierge was like, bro, you do a podcast? I was like, yeah, I actually do. I mean, shout out. The city loves us.
It should have just been like, all right, bro, yeah, I'll take $1,000 off the apartment.
Yo, bro, all I'm going to say is being a healthcare worker, they treat you so well. The discount that you get in that building because I am a first responder is insane.
That's crazy.
Off,
how much? Is there like a percentage on it?
That when they only spoke to me about the discount that they get for like the amenities and stuff. They said the first 3 months of parking was free.
Nice.
After that, it's 50% off a month.
Nice. Yeah, that's huge.
Wow, that is
parking.
good.
Parking. They get you very low key with
So
parking
sneaky,
because like you're
bro.
used to like parking like $50. Most places, bro, it's like at least $100 a month.
Bro, I don't understand why it's that expensive. It's
So
not that
stupid.
serious. It's a parking lot.
I know.
Apartments, you trying to make money off of everything, man. I'm already paying for the building.
It's a fact.
Give me the parking for free.
Yeah, we're
My
not moving
goodness.
into that building, sadly.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised healthcare workers get discounts. I mean, making a major contribution to society. So
I appreciate that.
It's only right. First responder Drew here. So we got to talk about the game because the Timberwolves beat OKC 143-101. Now, any type of win for Minnesota at this point would have been huge and it would have given them momentum going into game 4. To win by this much, I think gave them kind of even more confidence. Like, we didn't just beat them, we whooped them from start to finish. And fun fact, either OKC falls in line with any team that's lost by 40 points in the playoffs has never won a championship, or this game just doesn't matter and they're still going to win the championship anyway. But that's the type of historical precedent we're at right now. The Wolves won by so much that no team has ever won the title and have lost a game by this much. And the Wolves were up by 40, even when the starters were still in for OKC. I think Anthony Edwards set tone, 16 points in the first quarter. He finished with 30 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. He's averaging 27, 9, and 5 for the series on 65% true shooting against one of the best defenses ever. I think compared to last year, it's night and day how he looks like processing the defense. And the Terrence Shannon Jr. minutes can't go unnoticed because, my goodness, he was putting so much pressure on the rim. And he was one of the best players for them when they played OKC in the regular season, the spark he gave along with Jalen Clark. So I thought Chris Finch pressed all the right buttons tonight, and they had an excellent game plan for Shea, and that's why he struggled. And I think he only had 14 points. But, Minnesota, I felt like they hung with OKC in game 1 and game 2. It's just in the third quarter, the game got away from them. But overall, I still like how Minnesota matches up with them, and this was a good win to keep their hopes alive in this series.
I got a few things, Dels, and then you can go ahead and talk. That being said, Anthony Edwards was obviously incredible tonight. I'm not going to go and say that I've been wowed by him like I've been in the past so far this series. I understand where you're coming from. Oklahoma City is one of the best defenses we've ever seen, obviously the best defense this season. Game 1, lackluster for him. Game 2, yeah, he had 30, but he also shot the 3 ball pretty atrociously, and down the stretch, I didn't think he was that great. Yes, the efficiency from the field was pretty strong, but again, his 3-point shot, which has been the bread and butter for him for the entirety of this season, for him to struggle like that, especially down the stretch when they needed those shots, I definitely wouldn't say that it was the Anthony Edwards that I was anticipating. Today was the Anthony Edwards that I was anticipating. He was excellent. Waited, like you mentioned, setting tone in that first quarter, going ahead and just getting any kind of bucket that he wanted. He was just on one. The whole team was clicking on all cylinders, and Oklahoma City came out flat. That day of travel is interesting. I know that you have to be desperate, and that's what the Wolves were tonight. I'm not going to go and be the guy that, obviously, I still believe Oklahoma City is going to win this series. I'm not saying that Oklahoma City came into this game and didn't care about it, because you lose by 40. I think that matters. You don't get smoked by 40 and you're just like, okay, we're on to the next one. Nah, you're going to feel that one going into the next one. So I anticipate Oklahoma City to be a whole lot better in game 4, but you have to give credit where credit is due. Minnesota understood that this was a do or die game. You understood that Anthony Edwards was not going to go out without a fight. You knew that you were going to get his best brand of basketball, but you just got key contributions from everybody on this team. And Oklahoma City simply just came out with no life. Not really many takeaways from Oklahoma City side. I still feel confident in them. Yes, you got punched in the mouth. I wasn't anticipating anything else other than a strong performance from Minnesota. Never anticipated a 40-point loss. That's obvious. I don't think anybody else did. But you have to respect Minnesota not going out soft and trying to make this a competitive series.
Yeah, Minnesota, dominated, obviously, in this game. They look like the team that was down 2-0. This is the type of response that I expected from them not to be a 40-point win by any means, like Drew said, but a convincing win. I did think Minnesota was not going to get swept. I did not think this was going to be some, uncompetitive series. Some of these stats do remind me of last year. If you remember, Joel, which maybe you do, maybe you don't, the Dallas Mavericks beat the Celtics in Game 4 by like 30 points, and no team in finals history ever lost a game by 30 and end up winning the series. It's kind of what some of these stats feel like the one you just showed about losing by 40 and winning a playoff series. I still think the Thunder are the better team. And in the first two games, you could say the Thunder really only dominated in the third quarter. Other than that, the Wolves have been able to hang with them. Fine. Facts are facts. You could look up first quarter, second quarter, fourth. It's pretty close. I could say, well, what if OKC just wins every quarter by 3 or 4 points? And you're like, well, 3 or 4 points, that's a possession. And then by the end of the game, it's a 16-point game and it feels like a blowout. So just because you could wrap stats any other way to try to make it feel like one team is involved, when in reality, I feel like OKC had pretty large control over those first two games, even though it was the third quarter that really let them get that lead. I thought in the first two games, OKC's defense, what they were able to do to limit Julius Randle, number one. Naz Reid didn't shoot as well, but I feel like overall they were doing a decent job containing him, although especially in game one, they missed a lot of open shots. And Anthony Edwards has had his moments for sure. This game he was exceptional, but we saw in previous games, like Drew mentioned down the stretch, he wasn't the same dominant Anthony Edwards that we have seen in previous series, right? So I still think OKC has the series in the bag. I still think this is a series that they should comfortably, in 5 or 6 games, be able to get past the Minnesota Timberwolves. But that's not, to take anything away from them. I think the Wolves show tonight that when we're clicking on all cylinders, when we're coming out and playing this aggressive style of defense, we could really hang with these guys, right? And not just hang with them. We could go and win a couple games in this series. I feel like I wish I saw that more from them, especially the way they were guarding Shea in this game, where it was just a lot more aggressive. He was seeing guys, especially higher up, in terms of when he was seeing like pick and roll coverages. Overall, it was just more difficult for Shea to get into his offensive game, into any sort of rhythm. He was second guessing a lot of different mid-range shots, or while he was going downhill, he was passing out of shots while he was halfway up. A really poor game from Shea overall. And when you stack that with the hot shooting Minnesota had and the defense, like I mentioned, this is what they are capable of, right? Minnesota is not here back-to-back years by accident. They are an awesome team that has depth, that has star power, that has great coaching. So when they're clicking on all cylinders, they can beat this Oklahoma City team. It's just they got to beat them 4 times in 7 games, and they're already down 2-1. So that means for the rest of the series, they obviously got to get at least 3 more, maybe not playing at this level, but they have to have a lot of these things clicking that we didn't really see in the first 2 games so far. So I think it was a tremendous effort by them to defend home court, number one, but also it's a little psychological, right? If you win this game by 5 points, OKC's like, yeah, you know what, whatever. They were down 2-0. They had to have this game. We were still right in the, right, had a chance at the end of the fourth quarter, but it's different when you go out there and set tone right away. And by halftime, the game's over. So I do think that matters a bit in terms of the mindset of both these teams going into game 4. But I anticipate OKC wins game 4. You go up 3-1. I think Minnesota takes game 5. I think the Thunder close it out in 6.
The one thing I want to say, Joel, before you go is I understand that the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense is the best in the league. That being said, we understand what the Wolves defense is capable of and what they've shown us for a great portion of this NBA season, especially in this playoffs as well. This is still an elite defense. It may not be as good as Oklahoma City, but we saw what it can be tonight when it's clicking on all cylinders. This is still an elite defense. Again, it may not be the best in this series, but that doesn't take away how great that the Wolves defense can be. It shouldn't shake their confidence on that other side of the ball. That's where Minnesota needs to really assert themselves and then go ahead and try and get theirs on the offensive side. I know it's a struggle, but again, their best attribute, in my opinion, is that defense.
I'll address what hasn't been addressed yet. I was watching this game in the first quarter, and whenever OKC went up for certain shots, I said, that's a foul in OKC. It just is. I thought the referees allowed them to play much more physical this game. I thought there was a lot of moments where I'm going and I'm saying, if that was game 1 OKC, Minnesota might have 6 fouls already in the first quarter. And I thought the referees allowed them to play through contact, and I thought that favored Minnesota. And if they're going to call the game like this and Minnesota could play physical like this, I think they got a real chance to win game 4 and it'd be tied 2-2 going back to OKC. I thought the defensive coverage they had on Shea was much different. It was much more like what Denver did. And Chris Finch, I think, deserves credit for being a really good head coach, but some of the decisions he makes are just crazy to me because games 1 and 2, he was allowing Jaden to play one-on-one straight up with Shea, and he was pressuring Shea full court press, half court press. And that allowed ball screens to be set for Jaden to be out the picture. Jaden had to be much more physical. It got him into foul trouble. And he was also getting taken out to play. And they were just letting their defenders go one-on-one with SGA. And SGA just had his way. So you look up in game 2 when Shea has 30 and he's dominating, you have to start doubling now, and then you leave shooters open and they start getting into a rhythm. I thought this game, they did a good job at just saying, we're going to take Shea out the picture as soon as possible, and everybody else is going to beat us. We're going to help on these gaps. Jalen Williams could get an open 3 on a wing. And I thought Denver, who played a zone defense on OKC, and it really made their offense struggle, the fact that Minnesota has better defensive personnel and didn't equip that strategy starting from game 1, I thought was ridiculous because it clearly worked. And now in game 3, they equipped that strategy and Shea had a bad night and he'll bounce back from it. He's Shea. He's an MVP. That's what he's going to do. But they're definitely going to make him work much harder and be a much better playmaker with these hard traps they're setting on him. And I think that's the biggest difference in just a defensive game plan that should give Wolves some confidence.
Just seems obvious to me, no Dells. Let's force SGA to give the ball up. Like, yes, why do I want to go one-on-one with arguably right now where we stand in the NBA right now, the best isolation scorer that we have in the game right now?
It's arrogance.
The way that exactly.
And it's Jaden McDaniels. We think he's so good that he can stop him. That's what it is. And I feel like Chris Finch let McDaniels get that assignment. And then after 2 games, you notice, he got fried. We can't have this. And now it's like, okay, we're not going to play you. Just because Jaden's a great defender, we're not going to play you with him straight up. We're going to send everybody at you. And that's what they have to do. Even if they lose, that's the game plan they have to equip to make their offense struggle in the half court consistently and limiting turnovers. That's it. And I thought Minnesota was able to limit their turnovers in this game a lot. And we'll see in game 4 how it looks like in a more competitive environment because obviously there's not much to take away after halftime. This is a blowout and Minnesota had clear confidence. But in a close game, we got to see how Minnesota holds up.
I will say, not that I was anticipating the game to be different, but them coming out of the third, Oklahoma City coming out with actual fire under them, hitting shots, being strong and on defense. You call that timeout, you put all that to bed. You go ahead and you score 3-4 straight baskets in a row. You go ahead and you take the life from Oklahoma that they had any type of chance to come back. You deaded that right away. They were really on timing throughout the entirety of this game. And I can't help but sing their praises tonight. You needed a performance like this from them, a signature stamping like, hey, we're not out of this one yet. I still believe Oklahoma City's going to win, but you needed a game like tonight. So I give them nothing but credit.
Yeah, there's very few matchups, just going back to the Jaden McDaniels point. There's very few matchups and defenders across the league that you can legitimately guard one-on-one and not only feel confident in, but the results also back it up, right? Like it's really hard to find that guy that is able to just go one-on-one and completely take someone of Shea's caliber out of the game. It's almost impossible. And it was a bit surprising too, because we saw last year in the WCF when Jaden matched up against Luka. Luka had himself a damn series in the Western Conference Finals last year. And that was a lot of, Jaden playing one-on-one against him. And Chris Finch saw it didn't work out last time. And of course, Shea and Luka aren't exactly 1-for-1 players, but they're 2 of the best scorers and 2 of the best isolation scorers in the NBA. So even though Jaden's a great defender, doesn't mean he's going to be able to completely take guys out of the picture. Maybe Finch's idea is, Luka's a bit of a bigger player. He's stronger than Jaden. Jaden, although he's, 6'9", 6'10", he is a bit lengthy, and his one weakness probably as a defender is if you have a guy like Luka who has maybe 30 plus pounds on him, he can back him down the post. He can wear him down. Shea's not exactly that type of player, right? Shea is more so just quickness. He's able to get you off that first dribble. He has a obviously great mid-range. He could attack at all 3 levels, but he's not really taking you down into the post and really being a bruiser like Luka can at times. Maybe that's Finch's line of thinking. But like you said, after those first 2 games, you should realize pretty quickly this isn't going to work. So it's good that he made that adjustment. Also, I think you mentioned at the top of the show, Joel, but going to Terrence Shannon, he was someone that comes off the bench and gives you some real life and real juice, being aggressive with a lot of energy, which is kind of the opposite of what Dante gave you in the first couple of games. His shot was not falling, although I believe he went 2 for 2 from 3 today, but just the opposite of what you've been getting those first couple of games. He was able to, come in with some of those guys in that second unit and give you not just a spark, but continue what you were building on. So those 2 adjustments by Finch made a lot of difference.
So was it just me that thought that the officiating was different?
I didn't think about it much. It was also like a 30-point game in the second quarter. So, you know what I mean?
I'm exactly the same way with Joel. It was over before halftime even started. So I really wasn't thinking about foul calls. I will also say that I hate this conversation. The conversation of foul baiting, of the game now changing just because it's the playoffs. To me, as a fan of basketball, you really minimize the regular season to the max if you decide to change the brand of basketball on multiple levels come playoff time. That's where you start to lose me. Yes, do I feel as if foul baiting is lame? Yeah, I'm not the hugest fan of it. Do I think that there's benefits to it? Absolutely. I can go ahead and get your best defender off the court. That makes sense to me. Oh, I get an easier chance to score the basketball. That makes sense to me. Do I like it? Do I think that it's quote unquote ethical? No, I don't. But there's a reason why they're going out and scoring hella points and doing it at an efficient clip as well. Last thing I'll say, why do I want to watch the game change from the regular season to the postseason? I don't. I genuinely don't.
Yeah, I think there's 2 different conversations that people are having. It's if, OKC is foul baiting, specifically Shea, and the numbers don't back that up. I mean, we know that he tries to draw contact. He tries to draw contact when he drives. He does that shoulder bump all the time. That's what he does. Yeah, there are moments where that happens, but I just think it was less about him foul baiting and more about the calls that the refs were calling, some of these touch fouls that they called for him in game 1 that you kind of look at and you're saying, is that really a foul? Like, come on, I've seen plays that are more physical not be a foul in the playoffs. And then in game 2, I didn't think it happened as much, but maybe you can nitpick some moments here or there. I just see Brunson getting mauled, and Neesmith in game 1 was able to maul him and push him around, and my goodness, he didn't get nothing. And I know that Brunson's also another player people will say that foul baits as well, but when you're a smaller player and you have a more physical defender and they're able to shoulder bump you and be physical with you, it just makes the game so much harder. And I saw for that game, it wasn't being officiated in the same way that I saw game 1 of the conference finals. So second quarter, I agree, like the game was a blowout, but to start the game, there were some drives that OKC had that just based on history and looking at the calls that were called in game 1, I was like, okay, maybe this is an OKC thing. When they're at home, they're getting these type of whistles.
See, but to me, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of one game you call it one way, one game you call it another. To me, that's where the validity of officiating really it starts to blur very strongly. And I know it's the NBA. I'm not new to it, obviously, but at the same time, that's just something that I can strongly dislike.
Yeah, I think it's just consistency. We talk about it all the time. Like, if you want the game to be physical, let's be physical. Fine.
100%.
But we can't be physical in one game or one half and then be nitpicky in the other and have these touch fouls, right? So it's just, especially some of these, like you have refs that are like, they have multiple games in the same series, right? It's not like it's an 82 game season, the regular season, and there's just, different crews and all of these different cities going, state to state or whatever. Like, these are some of the, most experienced refs and a lot of the same crews as well that are officiating all of these games. So you would think there'd be more consistency game over game, although they do, I'm pretty sure they interchange. It's not like you get the same exact crew every single game. But yeah, you just want it to feel not only fair, but just logical that, like, if in game 1, if you're calling this game extremely physical, okay, that's fine. But in game 3, we can't have it just automatically switch. And now Shea or Brunson or whoever's getting all these touch fouls. And early in the series, it wasn't, because we've seen games this playoffs, right? You think about that Knicks Pistons series in game 1, some of the most physical games I had seen in some
100%.
years, right? And then you go and see some of these other games as the playoffs go on, and it's a little touch here, a guy jumps up into a defender that nobody likes, and they get called for it. So it's just consistency.
The Wolves winning tonight boosted my mood after the Knicks fell down 0-2. I needed this one, fellas. I don't know where my mental health would be at if the Wolves didn't win this game. Maybe the comments would have been right and we would have rescheduled for a different night to record. But my goodness, the Wolves pulled through. But the Knicks, they're down 0-2. It's 109 to 114. They lost the game. And I mean, do you think it's over? Are they done? Are they cooked? Is the series over? Should we be singing Indiana Pacers praises and they're going to the NBA Finals? I know Dels likes to think so, but I want to know where you're at, Drew.
So, Dels, I got to say, I've been loving the recent Indiana agenda pushing. Honestly,
love my Pacers.
I thoroughly have enjoyed it. It really has been a treat to see on Twitter. The Yesers?
Yesers.
The Yesers, terrible nickname. I mean, absolutely dog shit. However, last
Andrew
night
Nemhard says it, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's like,
okay.
So he'd be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's still terrible. Respectfully, terrible. It sucked that the Knicks lost last night. And I understand that Karl-Anthony Towns was not good. He wasn't. I also think as a whole, the Knicks defense was not great. Indiana's offense is going to be it's going to be high powered. It's going to be efficient. It's going to be quick. Pascal Siakam, if we're leaving with something, that is my guy. I love you. You've always been the guy to prove me right, and you did it once again last night. I hate that it had to be against the Knicks in game 2 and a must-win game for them. I want to say this in regards to the game and how it ended. Jalen Brunson had an opportunity to tie the game, and a lot of people have been very critical of that shot. I understand where you're coming from. Let me preface that there. I wholeheartedly agree with his decision. Terrible execution, horrendous execution, not even close. However, the right decision, because you had just had a couple of plays before where they hacked on Mitch and they're trying to take the ball out of Brunson's hands. Like any team should do, you don't want to give the ball to the clutchest player in the NBA in those situations. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's hack Mitch. If I'm Jalen Brunson, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to try and do everything to get the ball out of my hand. I'm going to try and get the best shot that I think I can get here. Now, if we go a step before that, I'm going to blame Tom Thibodeau. Why in God's name do you not call a timeout there? Why don't you draw up a play of any sort? You had a decent amount of time. I think that you could have drawn something up, whether it was for Brunson, whether it was for McHale, who I thought had a solid game, whether it was for Karl-Anthony Towns to shoot the basketball. Obviously, we know the plays to Jalen Brunson, but if that was too obvious, you could have drawn something up. That's where I want to put the blame on Tibbs, because now a lot of the heat's going to get transferred onto Brunson, who, again, I agree with that decision. It just didn't go in. If it goes in, we're talking about Jalen Brunson like we talk about him every single night that he plays basketball, like he's one of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen touch a basketball court. It sucks that it didn't go in. It sucked that the Knicks lost. I think Josh Hart has not been good. I think Karl-Anthony Towns was not good yesterday. And obviously we know what he brings on the offensive side, but when you aren't engaged on the defensive side, you make things very difficult, especially when you're going up against such a high-powered offense like the Indiana Pacers. I do believe that the Knicks still have a chance in this one because of blind faith. I really want them to win. I can't see this defense continue to be as bad as it's been. There's adjustments that can be made. We see them immediately once you take out Josh Hart, you put in Deuce, you put in Mitch Robinson, and the defense starts to click and your offense starts to click and you start to go on runs. I think that can't be coincidence. I think that when you see it from multiple instances in a row, there needs to be adjustments that are made. And in game 3, again, we talk about it all the time, and it's getting to not be a joke anymore. The Knicks are better on the road than they are at home. MSG is not home court advantage for them. It has not been for a couple of years now, and it's not changing now in this playoffs. They have to go out here game 3 and game 4, and they need to dominate because they understand their backs are against the wall. You can't go down 1-3 against this team. Winning game 3 is not enough. You have to win both, and that's an obvious statement. I think that you have to come out desperate like Minnesota just did and go out there and put belt to ass because you choked game 1. You absolutely gagged it. And in a situation where you had a chance to go ahead and steal a win against the Pacers, you weren't able to do so because Indiana knows how to execute on a play-to-play basis down the stretch of the game. It shocked me that they weren't able to close game 1. And it also did shock me that the Knicks weren't able to steal yesterday's game. But you also have to understand, Indiana's playing great basketball. Last thing. Karl-Anthony Towns was bad yesterday, no doubt. But what pissed me off more than anything was down the stretch of the game, his lack of enthusiasm on the glass. 2 instances where the team's able to go ahead and get offensive rebounds because Karl-Anthony Towns was not either in 1, good positioning, or 2, not assertive enough to go out there and get the board, and it gave Indiana more time to kill. That's really what ticked me off about Karl-Anthony Towns. How gassed he was, that was obvious, but his lack of drive in those last few moments of the game when you've already had such a poor game to that moment.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun series because I don't think the Knicks are done. Although I think the Pacers win this series, and I predict them to win this series.
Oh, cut it out.
The Knicks have been in both of these games, and obviously they should have won game 1. Jalen Brunson has been sensational in both of these games, but it's really been the guys around him outside of maybe Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride that have given you, maybe a good game, but then a bad game. It's hard to find the role players that have shown you, this high level of consistency through the first couple of games of this series. The Pacers are awesome, though. And the Pacers have shown throughout these playoffs that last year wasn't a fluke, although sure was the run they went on where those teams injured going up to, the ECF against Boston. Sure. But I think they're showing you right now that even if those teams were at full strength, they very easily could have gone back, to the spot where they were. They could have still made the Eastern Conference Finals. They were down 2-0 to the Knicks, and they came back to force the game 7 before Brunson and literally everybody on the Knicks team got hurt last season. But the Pacers are proving right now, I think, to the world, if they didn't do it already in the second round of the playoffs, that this is a real legit team, not even just in the Eastern Conference Finals, but in a potential finals matchup as well. The style of offense that they have, which we've talked about, a ton, but the style of offense they have is just not something we really see across the rest of the NBA when you have so many of these, high usage kind of one-on-one star players, whether it's a guy like Shea, of course, you have your Luka Doncic's and to a lesser extent, but you have the game like last night, where Halliburton is not on his A game, at least as a scorer. I think he finishes with 14 points, but you have Pascal Siakam going out there and giving you 40, his best playoff game probably of his career, and you still get, those contributions from the rest of their role players, even though this is one of Miles Turner's worst games of his playoffs this season. But their offense and how difficult it is to consistently guard, not just in the half court, but of course, once they get into transition. I think the Knicks defense has shown a lot these playoffs, and against Boston, everyone gave them a ton of credit inside the hype, deservedly so. But what the Pacers are showing right now is that Boston was not deliberate enough when it comes to trying to attack Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. And when they were attacking them, they were settling way too often. We are seeing in this series, the Pacers are constantly going after those two guys, and they've looked just as bad defensively as we've seen them play, all season long. It looks a lot more like the regular season versions of themselves compared to the playoff version that we've seen in the first couple of rounds. But because of that, the Pacers just consistently able to generate good shots and consistently able to generate just good offense in general. The latest report that just came out within the last, 10 or 15 minutes is that it's seeming likely Josh Hart's going to see the bench, and they're going to go with Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup. So you're going with a double big move with Cat and Mitchell Robinson, which I think is the right move, right? Josh Hart, especially in game 2, did not have it going whatsoever. And Mitchell Robinson, although do the Pacers go to more Hack-a-Mitch, potentially if he's seen more minutes, but the effort and the second chance opportunities you get with Mitchell Robinson on the court is second to none in the NBA. I mean, he is the best offensive rebounder in the NBA, one of the best offensive rebounders that I've ever seen, even though, it does feel like a short sample because he's consistently in and out of the lineup. But when he's healthy and he's right, He is so crazy good on the glass. And defensively, the way he's been able to switch throughout these playoffs has been insane. Like, I know Mitchell Robinson, maybe he's shown that more in flashes in the past, but this is the best I can remember him playing in my life. Like, this is the best version of Mitchell Robinson I think we have ever seen. The fact that he's able to be such a positive offensive player, given his limitations, while also being one of the best switching bigs that's left in the playoffs right now. He's playing out of his mind good. With that being said, I think someone mentioned it in the super chat. The Pacers are 5-1 at home these playoffs. They've been dominant at home. We know how rowdy that crowd can get, but I do think New York takes game 3 and makes it a 2-1 series. I feel like they've been too close in both of these games. Brunson's been too good in both of these games, and down the clutch, one of these games are going to go their way. I think they take game 3 in Indiana.
Well, Mitchell Robinson has always been this good, Dels. And there's a reason why, if he was healthy last year, we would have made the conference finals and beat the Celtics. But it's a big reason why, when he was healthy this year, we beat you guys. It's because of his impact and what he brings and provides for us. He had the highest plus minus on the team. That's just what he does. And to your point about MSG not being home court advantage, it's not, unless it's game 6 against Boston in the second round. It's not really home court advantage. That night it was home court advantage. Oh yeah. The crowd was hyped for that, but listen, I think the Knicks are going to come back and win these next 2 road games. They're 5-1 on the road in the playoffs. They won. The only one they lost was against the Celtics after Tatum went down. I feel like it gave the entire team at home a collective energy and they just couldn't miss. But I just feel as if the Knicks have been great on the road all year long. Josh Hart, not having him start a lineup is obvious. It should have been done a while ago to start this series, if we're being honest. And I like that we went with Mitchell Robinson, or we're going to go with Mitchell Robinson, is because Deuce McBride is smaller. He's a good defender, but he's smaller. There's too many mismatches to attack with him starting. And Mitchell Robinson is ready for the moment, and you can't hack a Mitch if you're starting the game. The Pacers are not going to try to get into the bonus or into foul trouble because they want Mitchell Robinson to miss some free throws. So I think starting him in the game as early as often is going to benefit us. And in this series, I mean, listen, Brunson's averaging 40 points and 8 assists. There's really nothing more he can do. He could have been more clutch in game 1. His turnovers really hurt us. And, I feel like in game 2, the ball kind of stuck with him. And listen, I disagree. I thought that shot was awful. And I understand that. I understand that Tom Thibodeau should have called the timeout, but I think the reason he didn't call a timeout was because he's expecting that we're going to try to get an easy 2 because they're playing up on a 3 so much. Get an easy 2, try to make it a 1-point game, foul again, and hopefully they miss one free throw and it's a 2-point game and you don't have to rely on a 3. You could do other things to get that bucket and you have that timeout to save. And I thought Brunson really rushed the shot, but we didn't play well in the fourth quarter either. I thought Tom Thibodeau's lineups are just awful. And that's the biggest thing is I don't think, genuinely, as much respect as I'll give the Pacers, I don't think they're better than us. I think we should have won game 1 and we choked. They earned that. In game 2, nice win. I can't say nothing about that. I just really feel like Tibbs is playing the wrong lineups, that and the wrong combinations. I think if Rick Carlisle was on the other side and Tom Thibodeau was on the other side for the Pacers, this would be 2-0 going the Knicks way. That's all I'm saying. Rick Carlisle has been a fantastic.
No, now it's a Tibbs thing. Like, he didn't just out-coach Joe Mazzulla.
Tom Thibodeau has been awful this series coaching-wise. He's been awful.
I just don't think you could put it just on the coach after game 1. Like,
we're blaming Tibbs after game 1.
That's not on Tibbs. That is.
I'm blaming him. I'm blaming him on the lineup that he continues to put out there that's not good. If you look at all the data, NBA lineup data goes back to 07-08. Of the 72 teams that have made the conference finals, the Knicks have the 4th worst most played lineup. That is the starting lineup. This data has been readily available for a while now, and he continues to put Josh Hart out there, and he has been detrimental to our team. He's not playing good basketball.
Cat was also a -20 yesterday.
Oh yeah, Cat is awful. In game 2, he was garbage.
Quick question. Joel, you said that you refuse to admit that the Pacers have been better. Should I admit?
No, I don't think that. I think we are a better team. I do.
Should I or can I admit, or did I that the Celtics are the better team over the Knicks just because we blew some leads? Like I came up here and said, no, we blew the lead, sure, but the Knicks had to fucking take it. You know what I mean?
I feel like same way with the Pacers
That's you.
versus the Cavs. The Pacers
Okay, yeah,
went out
that's
there
me.
and they
That's me,
snatched their
sure.
lunch money.
I feel like we were better than you, and I feel like we're better than the Pacers, and I think we should go to the NBA Finals. That's how I feel. And unless we lose that third game, I'm not giving up hope on it yet. We are road warriors these playoffs. Brunson will continue to shine and be who he is. And Cat, his defense is garbage, and it's going to be garbage regardless of if his shot is falling or not. But we need him to be more consistent offensively and actually make an impact. And I think we'll have a chance to also. I think OG has been garbage. Not only has he not really been impactful on offense in this series, but game 2, Siakam has 39 on you. Siakam is an excellent player, but your former teammate cooking you in that fashion, having 39. The biggest problem with the Knicks right now is just their defense. That's just plain and simple. I think their offense, it is what it is. It's a lot of Brunson. That's what it's always going to be. But overall, their defense is the fact that Jalen Brunson and Cat are liabilities. But Cat is the one that's getting hunted relentlessly. Cat is getting put into every pick and roll action. Cat is being forced to guard out into space. Cat is being forced to scramble. That's tiring him out. And I thought in the first quarter, he settled for some deep shots that I thought maybe, let the possession play out a little bit. But overall, that's the weak link. And we're seeing right now in real time, if the Knicks do go on to lose this series, how hard it is to build a true championship contender if you have two players that are as big defensive liabilities as Brunson and Cat. It's just very difficult. And a team like the Pacers, they're taking complete advantage of Cat. And I thought it's a big reason why Cat didn't close out game 2. There's a reason why Mitchell Robinson was out there, because he was so bad on defense that we just could not afford his presence out there in that moment.
And he sat for a little while and still came in with no life. It was a bad performance start to finish for Cat. He had a couple big-time shots.
First half of the fourth.
Yeah, facts.
But I'm trying to see OG Anunoby. What's his game log been in this series? He had 16 and 16. It doesn't really feel like it.
I do want to say this. Game 1, he wasn't as efficient as he was in game 2. I think down the stretch, though, I thought OG's defense was incredible. I thought that it's when they got the switches on Mikal with Pascal to Mikal. I think that's when they took advantage, because obviously Pascal has just the size over Mikal. I do want to give OG the benefit of the doubt down the stretch of the game defensively. I really thought that he locked in. That's what I'll say.
I didn't realize Miles Turner finished 5 for 10. First half he was putrid. He must have came on the second
13
half
in the fourth.
realizing.
He missed a big 3 when he sidestepped Brunson. I was like, the Knicks really have a chance to win this game.
That's what I'm saying. OG choked in game 1. That's what I was going to say.
He
was the biggest guy. But even that, it's like 34 seconds left, 22 seconds left on the shot clock, and Brunson makes that pass. I thought it was ridiculous. I mean, you're up 5. There's no reason to rush a shot or a decision right there. But I'm telling you, Dels, if we play New York Knicks basketball, there's no way that we can lose. And we take it a step at a time.
You didn't one step at a time. Pass?
Brunson passed it to OG, and then OG went up.
That pass was awesome.
Yeah, but there was 22 seconds left on the shot clock with 34 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, but he was being trapped. He just needed to get the ball out before turning the ball over.
But he decided to drive to the basket.
I'm sorry. We're thinking of 2 different possessions at this point.
I'm thinking of game 1.
No, I'm talking about game 1 as well. In the last play before OG gets fouled, they go and they're trapping Brunson. I'm sorry, unless I'm thinking of a different pass, because there's the pass where Brunson's getting trapped,
where he throws it like this
bounce pass.
Oh yeah, that was a prayer that got answered.
Yeah,
that pass was lit.
I'm talking about the possession before where it was 34 seconds left on the clock with 22 seconds left on the shot clock, and we were up by 5 points. And Brunson decided to drive the ball, and he bounced past it to OG, and OG went up for it. And at first they called the foul, but they reviewed it and it wasn't a foul.
Yeah.
And then it was a jump ball.
That was on Siakam.
Got it. Yeah. And then they were able to hit a shot, and it was only 1 possession game, and they had mad time left. Like, if we just ran out the clock and only gave them 12 seconds with a 5-point lead, you just have much better chances. I just feel like we just made so many mistakes down the stretch. But like I said, if we play Knicks basketball, we will win this series.
I respect that, Joel. I think you got to give the Pacers a little bit more credit.
I am.
I don't know, because it's like I don't know how you could be down 0-2 the Pacers have as incredible fourth quarters as they've had, and you could just be like, no, we've been the better team. I just don't think.
I don't think
that's
we've been the better team. I think we are the better team. They have played like the better team. In this series, I think we are the better team.
Why
and
does that matter?
We should not be losing.
Has not mattered all playoffs.
Maybe it doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me. My expectation of the Knicks is that you got to take care of business. This should have been a 1-1 series, and I would have been comfortable.
That argument's stupid. What are you basing that off of?
But it's basing off of my feeling and how I feel about my Knicks. They were favored coming into this series, which means that Vegas also thought they were the better team. If they played up to their standards, this is a 1-1 series going back to Indiana.
That doesn't make sense because Cleveland was the better team. Indiana played better. Boston was the better team. The Knicks played better.
I said the Pacers have played better than us. The Pacers have played better than us.
Yeah, so
my expectation of the Knicks is I feel like we should be should be better.
Does not matter.
We should be better. Yeah, it doesn't matter if we lose this series, it doesn't matter. I think the team is better. We lost the series, but overall, I don't think we should be down 0-2. We are down 0-2, and that is what the situation is right now. But I also believe we are good enough to dig ourselves out that hole and come back to MSG, tie 2-2, and win Game 6 and be up. So I do think so.
Game 5.
I think we can win 3 games in a row. Absolutely, I think we can win 3 games in a row.
Okay.
The Pacers got insanely fortunate in Game 1. We can just keep it a bean. It was insanely fortunate.
That's how shit goes, though.
No. The ball doesn't bounce 10 feet in the air and fall in the cup. That's not how basketball goes.
When you go on these crazy runs, shit happens.
Let's just be dead ass. Let's just be serious. It was a miracle of God that ball bounced in.
Yes, so was Kawhi's shot. Miracle of God.
Agreed. I don't sit here and glaze that shot either. I'm just like, wow, it went in. No, I will say the Knicks sold by not making their free throws, but Halliburton getting that lucky ass bounce and sending it into overtime.
I guess.
I'm not sitting here saying that Joel's overly wrong.
No,
There's a lot of Boston fans that's in my mentions that acknowledged the Knicks won the series. They still felt like the Celtics were the better team.
Yeah, that's where.
And y'all blew it. Y'all blew it. Yeah, you guys are a better, more talented team.
The Celtics are better than the Knicks. The Knicks were better down the stretch of the games, but the Celtics are the better team. No?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I just think it's kind of a pointless argument.
You're saying what you're saying is it doesn't matter because you still lost. Huh? I agree with you. If we lose, it doesn't matter. But I think that we're good enough to dig ourselves out this hole. It starts with Game 3, 1 game at a time, fellas.
You could be a worse team and still win the series. Like that's what we saw from the Knicks.
That almost never happens.
You got to play
it
better.
It happened twice these playoffs. In the last round, it happened.
The Pacers are arguably better than the Cavs.
Nobody in the world was saying that entering the series.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
The Cavs were hurt, though.
5 games.
And that's not to take nothing away from the Pacers, because I feel like people always think it is.
They won in 5 games.
We know the Cavs weren't at their full strength. That's all I'm saying.
The only issue, real quick, just getting back to Tyrese's shot. The only issue I have, because obviously it was a lucky shot. It goes fucking 15 feet up in the air. But to even be in that situation, you have to play so poorly if you're the New York Knicks, not just Indiana getting lucky. You have to play piss fucking poor to be up 9 points with 50 seconds left and blow that game. And Indiana has to play perfect basketball. So I can't just sit here and be like, they got lucky on one shot. There was 10 to 15 possessions where Indiana just outplayed New York. And it didn't come down to that shot.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
It was Aaron Nesmith being lava hot.
Oh, okay. Yes.
No, that's not just being better. That's one dude just catching absolute fucking flame and catching the ball wherever it is on the court.
And nobody on New York could get a bucket and no one could stop a run.
It was a 9-point. They were still getting theirs. They just couldn't. He could not miss. Aaron Nesmith could not miss.
I just think it's a little disrespectful to Indiana. That's all.
Who's being disrespectful?
I think it's just a little disrespectful to be like, one guy got hot.
That is
he got hot, but they were also guarding up and they were getting extra possessions and they were hitting their free throws and the Knicks were missing. Like, there's so much that goes into other than one guy getting hot.
But really, that's what it was.
All right.
9 points with 50 seconds left. He hit 3 threes.
Face guard him. Put 2 guys on him. You have answers.
They were.
He was getting open looks.
Bro, he shot one from the logo, Dells. Like, he could have closed his eyes and it would have went in.
Now, Dells, here's the difference between the team you root for in the back and my team. We're not going to go down 0-2 and then lose this series.
Dells, I mean,
it's not going to happen.
You like being clipped at this point.
It's not going to happen, Mr. Dells. Mr. Dells, my team is going to come back. Definitely not losing no 6. We're at least going to make it a respectable 7 games. Right. We're going to come back. We're going to win these next 2 road games, and we'll talk. We'll talk throughout this series. We're going to constantly be chirping and texting. But you'll be damned if we're just going to bow down like the goddamn Celtics.
I pray you're right. I pray you're right.
No way.
I don't want to see you clipped, Joel.
Listen,
I don't.
After Jaylen Brown's Game 5 performance, can't say we bowed down.
I've already been clipped. Santos clipped me for saying the Knicks were going to win Game 2. That bastard.
That's why I say that. I keep that in my mind. Like, why are we trying to do it again?
It's as I lose no confidence still. I told my cousin earlier today. He told me, yo, I think it's over. I said, man, it's not over until we lose that 3rd game. I said, until we lose that 3rd game, it's not over. We have a chance. Until that happens, you keep on that hope that we made it this far. We could do it.
Knicks and 6 still.
Josh Hart not being in the starting lineup, that's the first step. That's the first step.
It's Knicks and 7.
Jakari Ferguson sent $1 with a picture of his dog. Shout out to his dog profile picture. We'll see maybe if he has a comment for us that he can put out for us. Yes, so I'm not mad at you for clipping that. You can clip as much stuff as you want. Jason goes, look when Shea doesn't get those bogus calls. His game is limited. Free throw merchant exposed. Finally, refs allow the Wolves to play some defense.
That's a good Wolves narrative. No, that's a good Wolves fan comment right there.
Jay Greedo goes, after too quick on Caruso, I knew what time it was. That's what I'm saying. There was calls quickly. They was getting them in OKC. That wasn't happening.
No, that's a fact. The refs got a call from Silver. He was like, yo, it's getting a little too crazy too quickly. Let's ease on the whistle.
No, that's because they see that he's mauling people every single game and not getting called for it.
Now this. Yeah. No, but he could do it against the best in the world and it's all good. Good defense. But now it's against your glorious Wolves and he's putting fucking belt to ass and he's clamping almost every possession. No, now it's, hey, he's being too aggressive.
How much he had tonight? 2 points? Come on, man. We're not worried.
Interesting. No. Actually, that's what I wanted to mention. Really good on Dante DiVincenzo. Hit 2 of 2 today.
He was
really good job.
I told you he was gonna bounce back.
No. Where was that in Game 1 and Game 2? Because he's been dog
wasn't
shit.
At home. Wasn't at home.
Dog shit. But no. Apparently nobody's ever called him that. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Credit to him. He's played decent basketball this series.
Nahom Tekel goes, Knicks get to be physical on D and Brunson flops. Pacers never get fouled, so you can't complain. Pacers are clearly the better team. Sirs in 5.
Clearly the better team is cracking me the fuck up.
If Pacers lost 2 at home, y'all be calling sweep. Pacers sweeping. We 4-1 at home in the playoffs. Sorry. Try again next season. Oh, he's talking spicy, huh?
He's talking crazy. Nobody would be saying a sweep. No,
he got more super chats. He wants us to read his stuff. Delusional takes, y'all. Pacers are clearly better. Followed up with teams losing 2 at home, lose 93% of the time with a clown emoji. Another one. This is excuse talk. Pacers are going to the finals. Joel, I'll bet a 1K y'all ain't trying it up in Indy. Y'all ain't tying it up in Indy. He'll bet me 1K. It's not gonna happen.
You're making that bet, Joel? It's 2-2.
I already got my bet in FanDuel. It's not looking good now.
Yeah. What's the cash out?
Oh man, I haven't checked that since I placed it. Honestly, it's probably not looking so good. I'll read these super chats in the meantime as I get it. RJ the God, the Pacers against the Cavs showed me they are legit. The Knicks showed me against the Celtics they got lucky. Pacers will close this out in 5.
RJ the God has to be a Celtics fan. There's just no way around it.
I mean, Celtics were up 20 in, Game 1 and Game 2.
But how do you get lucky? Like, how is that lucky?
Guys got hot.
My cash out is $27.
So wait,
Brunson got hot.
Brunson got hot. You're being smarter. Now you're being smarter.
Neesmith got hot. Brunson
Even
got hot.
It was Mikhail who got hot. Brunson got hot. OG got hot. Cat got hot. No, it was multiple guys, not just Aaron Neesmith. Interesting.
RJ the God. Everyone hyped up the Knicks as a fourth quarter team, but in reality, y'all just got lucky. The Celtics missed a bunch of open shots. Now you're down 0-2, and y'all talk like y'all are the 96 Bulls.
God, no, RJ the God really is a Celtics fan. Shout out to him.
Shout out to RJ. I like this guy.
Santos goes, y'all like my Pick a Side playlist I made on Spotify.
Did you see it, Joel?
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
I'll be honest. I saw it kept pushing.
I have to see it. I have to check it out. I'm going to present you guys with this video here. I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to go onto Twitter, and let me know what you guys think of this. There's a lot of bookmarks that I have.
What do you have in these bookmarks? You better be careful.
It's just I have so many old school highlights and stuff that I just rewatch when I'm about to go to bed and stuff.
Yeah, he took away all the, Okay.
Oh, what are you talking about? You just watch these streams. You're getting me in trouble, mister. I'm not watching nothing. I'm a good boyfriend. Okay, so let's get into this. This is this tarot girl that predicted the OKC and Minnesota Timberwolves series. Let me know if you guys can hear it.
We have two older cards.
Can you hear it?
The Magician.
Can you turn it up?
No, I can hear it.
Let me try to turn it up.
I can't hear that shit. I could just turn my shit up.
Okay, let me try to get my sound. Okay. Do you guys hear it?
It basically have two older cards. It is the Magician and the Sun. And it basically means manifesting your success, bringing in all that happiness, bringing in all that good energy. We have the Page of Wands here too. And this card came up with these guys. I wasn't supposed to take any more cards out than the original 3, which would have been these. As that one fell. I wouldn't be surprised if Thunder won the first 2 games. I'm not going to lie to you, but I do see that the Timberwolves come back. And when they come back, they have a really good solution. They have a really good passion. I think the Timberwolves find a way to win the series. Because of the Magician being here. They are manifesting something that they have.
Is Ant-Man the Magician?
They have been here
This is a tarot reading for those that are wondering.
Again, to prove that it seems like they have gone up the ladder, right? Nuggets knocked him out in 2023. Dallas knocked him out last year. So they're just kind of going up. They have surpassed a certain limit and they're just trying to get there. I don't see OKC that much because I'm sticking so much of their energy with
this was before the series,
and I don't see any of that coming out afterwards. So I don't see how many games this is going to go into. Maybe 5 or 6. Cards have the Timberwolves.
Cards have the Timberwolves.
She did say 5 or 6. She kind of lost me there.
Yeah, she did.
However, she did say, I wouldn't be surprised if OKC did win the first 2 games and then the Wolves come back. Interesting.
This has been a thing that's been trending on Timberwolves Twitter. After they lost the first 2 games,
I bet they were drawing at anything, hoping and praying.
They were like, we got them right where we want them, folks.
Stupid.
And now they win this 3rd game, so we'll see. If they win game 4, I mean, my goodness, what can I say at that point?
I'm with you.
The cards have spoken.
I will be happy for you.
Did she get anything right before? Santos is asking. I really haven't went deep into her catalog at all. From replies that I've read, it says that she got the Knicks Celtics series right, and she picked the Knicks. So
wow,
that's what I know.
Tarot cards were cooking.
So, yeah, so maybe it's true. I wouldn't be mad. All right, that's gonna do it for this instant reaction. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, and make sure you guys like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you guys are not subscribed already. And for anybody that's talking about the tarot cards in the chat, my goodness, this is not something I believe in. This is just something that is fun. My goodness.
A lot of bummers in the chat right now. My
God, you're desperate. You're desperate for Minnesota. Oh my God.
Turn this shit off. Nobody give a fuck, man.
No, it's just funny. It's just a funny coincidence. And I just wanted to make you guys aware of a video that's surfacing, that's trending on Timberwolves Twitter. But that's going to do it for us. Make sure you guys like the stream. We got one more super chat. James, start bench cut duos. 09 Wade and 20 AD, 08 CP3 and 09 Braun, 11 D Rose and 2000 Shaq.
We're cutting 11 D Rose in 2000 Shaq. We're benching Wade in 28. I lied.
I'm starting CP3 and Bron.
Yeah. The only reason I contemplated 28 D because that 3-ball was.
I'm starting 11 D Rose in 2000 Shaq.
No.
2000 Shaq is the best player here.
No, he's not.
He's better than 09 Bron.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. It was 2000 Shaq. It was Shaq at his absolute prime. Bron didn't have a jump shot in 09.
And it didn't matter.
It did.
He was still winning 60 games with the bum-ass Cavaliers.
Yeah, and then he had to go to Miami, and he struggled in that Celtics series.
He didn't struggle against the Celtics.
There's no way 09 LeBron is better than 2000 Shaq.
I'm taking 09 LeBron over, does not matter.
And then 11 D Rose, I mean, he's the weakest of the guards here, but he's an MVP winner.
You're starting 2000s. You're starting them.
Yeah, because of Shaq.
Okay.
Because of Shaq. The type of rim pressure 11 D Rose and 2000 Shaq is going to bring, I mean, there's going to be no stopping them at the rim. It's unstoppable. Because I think 2000 Shaq here is just the best player here.
Nah, give me 09 Bron.
Number 2, I'm going to cut. Well, I'm going to bench. This is my bench. I'm benching 09 Wade and 20 AD. 09 Wade was just as good as 09 Bron. And 20 AD is better than 08 CP3. And I'm cutting CP3 and Bron. 08 CP3 and 09 Bron.
There's such a gap between 09 Bron and 09 Wade. It's not even funny, but continue.
It's not. He averaged 30 that year.
And LeBron was also first team all defense.
Dwayne Wade won a championship in his 3rd year in the league.
Okay, so 09 Wade is not 06 Wade.
Yeah, 09 Wade was better.
He wasn't.
Yes, he was. This is his best year.
LeBron was MVP that year.
I know. He was a great player. He's the MVP for sure.
And the ship, but
he's so you're starting 09 Bron and 08 CP3?
I'm starting Bron every year of his career. You think I give a damn? I don't. I don't give a damn.
2000 Shaq not being universally recognized as the best player here is insane.
Give me 09 Bron.
The one who led a 3-peat?
Congratulations to him. He's a dog.
The best version of Shaq ever? 09 Bron is not that.
09 Bron started what was LeBron James.
Yeah. If it was a different version of LeBron, maybe like 2012 Bron, yeah. That one. 09 Bron's jump shot still a little too iffy. But that's going to do it for us. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time.